Okay, let's say I'm not being kind to myself. Let's say I'm really ugly and I'm not being kind to myself. What does that look like? Versus if I am like, what's the difference? If I'm being kind here, I'm being kind to myself. Here, I'm not being kind to myself. How would I act differently? What does that look like? What's the difference? Because I don't even know
Okay.
what that means by
I
when people say be kind to yourself. Okay, I'm kind to myself. Now what? Like I don't know what that means. Do you know what I mean?
so I will try to
Hmm.
give my meaning to this. So be kind means to, so if a person is not kind, they would look at themselves in the mirror, for example, and they would see everything that is not fine, like every, I don't know, the hair, so they would focus their attention to what's wrong with me. Then they would feel miserable about themselves generally because they have these thoughts constantly. Then they interact with other people in a way that they assume other
Oh,
people
okay.
would
So they're
see
insecure. Their
their
insecurity shows
definitely.
up, shows
Yes.
outward. Yeah,
Yes.
and then it's a cycle.
So
From there on, it's a cycle.
yeah.
Remember, I told you about that experiment they did where they put a fake scar on somebody's face, and
Okay.
then they told them like, "This is a social experiment. You're going to go into a job interview, but you know that you have a scar on your face, right?" Like, but then right before they go into the interview, they'll be like, "Oh, let me touch that up," and then they'll remove the scar, so they actually don't have any scar on their face. But then they think that they have a scar on their face, right? And then they show like to the job, and then they ask the interviewer, like, and it turns out
Mm-hmm.
that people who thought that they have a scar on their face was a lot more insecure, and they weren't confident, and and
Yeah.
then from there it's
This
a
is
cycle, right? If you're like that, like if it's the same, right? If I'm talking to a, like, it's the same in dating, right? If I'm talking to a girl and I'm insecure, like she can tell that, so I become less attractive, then she's gonna express that, and then now I'm even more insecure, and then it's a cycle. Whereas if I'm confident, like, they're gonna be more attracted to you, and that makes you more confident. And do you understand what I
yeah.
mean? It's like both ways. It's like a
Yeah.
cycle.
Exactly. So it is like having that scar. So for somebody it can be their look, for somebody how smart they are, for somebody how funny they are.
Yeah,
So whatever.
I know what you mean. Like, I have a scar on my arm. I don't know if you've seen it.
I mean, it's blurry.
Oh,
I
but
can
I have a
only see
scar on my
glimpses of.
arm, like a big scar. And I got this scar
Okay.
when I was 11. I had a big surgery, and for a year, I never wore a short sleeve shirt. For 1 year.
Yeah, that's a lot. So how did you feel about that scar?
I guess insecure. I was not being kind to myself.
Yeah, you were trying to hide some
Yeah,
weak part,
yeah.
uncomfortable part. So this is it. But imagine that somebody, for example, in that experiment, said like, okay, so you have a scar. This is your weak point, and you're probably going to be insecure. So, but this is you. So you can hate it as much as you want. This is you. And
Hmm.
they hate that scar. Like, I'm so ugly with this scar,
Hmm.
but this is me. And they stay with that. They say, okay, let's see what's next. So what do you want to do next? You have this job interview. So this is for your job and you want that job. Okay.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you can focus on your scar and you can slowly try to focus on different things and actually live with your scar and fight for your opportunities. So the point is that, if you have some time where you can actually live with the fact that you don't like something about yourself and survive that, That's the way to actually really be kind. And then when you hear like, oh, I should be kind to myself, you really mean like, I should be kind to myself. Like, yeah, this is me. Today I don't like myself, but this is me. And I accept what it is, whatever it is. So this is the point, that unless you accept your mixed feelings about yourself, you cannot really do anything nice for yourself.
Okay. What do you think people think it means?
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah. Like, what's the myth versus the truth? Like, what do you think people think when they hear "be kind to yourself"?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think people think that means versus what does it really mean? Or was there a myth truth sandwich there?
I think that, yeah, there is. I think I think that they don't. I think that they know what this means theoretically, but they don't know what to do with that. So the myth is that we hear that we should be gentle to ourselves. So we try to say gentle words like, I don't know,
Oh,
it's
so
okay
that's
to
why
make
they do the
mistakes. Nobody's.
affirmation. Like
Yes,
that's why I'm like, oh, I'm beautiful. I'm confident.
exactly.
I'm smart.
Yeah, the first thing when you get up, you say, "I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm sexy." So you put those affirmations there. So how to be
I
kind to
don't think that does
yourself.
shit with your confidence.
Exactly. But if you ask, exactly, but if you ask many people online, they are advocating for this. And I think this even puts us in a so much more miserable place, because then you do something and there's no result. And then who are you going to blame? Yourself.
Yeah.
You cannot even do the affirmation.
Like for
Really.
me, the process of watching myself on video is how can you can learn to be more kind to yourself, to love yourself. I just think that it's kind of like the whole being the exposure therapy. I think you have to expose yourself to yourself and be self aware.